Hi, friends. Sorry, my internet went out. Trying to get Paul to go back on. Power went out for just a minute, so we're going to finish this up. Hopefully, Paul can join us. Before we cut out, I caught what Paul was saying at the end, so I'll just reiterate it. Paul was saying how he got his roles mostly from work experience. And when he looks at a resume, now a lot of museums do require a master's degree, but he's really looking for experience. Do you understand? Have you had hands-on experience to know how to lay something out? Academic knowledge is great, but it really also depends on the program. Suki! Wow, everything's going on tonight. Depending on the program, your academic program is only going to teach you so much, where hands-on really can benefit you. I will answer this for Bella, who joined. Bella said on the previous live stream, this is so insightful. I just got my bachelor's in art management, art history. I've experience working with galleries, but I'm hoping to go into curation. I feel like I'm a bit stuck right now, wondering if I should look into applying for museum positions right off the bat, or if I look into internships to build my resume would be more effective. Oh, great question. So I'm going to give my 2 cents from what I have heard. Job experience is never going to, it's never a bad idea to get job experience before you figure out if you need more education. So what I would probably recommend is start applying to jobs, look for entry-level positions, see if you can get any traction. Look at job positions, their descriptions, and see where you fit. Sometimes applying for jobs is a really good practice to see where you need to gain more skills. If you're looking at a ton of positions and they're asking for a ton of administrative skills and you just have 0, that may be a sign of, okay, I should go look for positions that are going to give me this, that I don't need a ton of that experience at the forefront, and seek that out. So that's what I recommend at this point. Again, friends, so sorry that we got cut off. If you all have any more questions for Paul, Paul Loya, you can drop them in the comments. Oh, here he is. Let's see. How do I add right? All right. Hi, Paul. I was just finishing off that one question, kind of reiterating what I caught you say towards the end. Can I ask you a quick follow-up question about that?
Sure.
Say you had 4 candidates, and they all had master's degrees, and some were coming from art history or fine arts degree or museum studies. What would you, currently as a hiring manager, prefer? What degree gives the most applicable skills for contemporary curation?
Well, like their degree, I think it just come down to like honestly like what I don't know. For me, like I think maybe what they did outside of that degree, what they did alongside their degree, I think would really matter. I think especially knowing what I know now, especially within the institution and what I look for, especially with our programming and with our exhibition calendar, I want somebody who's gonna like think outside the box, and come with a community first approach, to the institution. That's what I would look for. And how are they showing an example of that through their work, like in academia and also like outside of academia. So I think like, if they have, I think to me like a degree is, I think it's important, but I think also like someone came to me without a degree and they were like, hey, look what I did. I did all these things, and I put together all these exhibitions, and they had, examples of those things and the artists that they were including, and they seeing things like being inclusive with those exhibitions in ways that I'm not thinking about, I'm like, oh my gosh, like, yes, we need you a part of this team, because there's like ways of like you're bringing something, a new eye, into our department that I can't, that I'm not accessing, and I think like that's the most important thing. So,
Yeah.
I think like, always hiring people that are, kind of are, my eye can only see so far, but hiring people that are better than you in a way is always the best way to make the most successful program and department,
Yeah.
so, and building a great team. So, yeah. And I think that can look like in a lot of different ways, than just what like college has to provide. And
Yeah.
like, I think like, yeah. So, yeah.
Great. Oh, I have quick one. Favorite show
Yeah.
you've ever done?
Ever? Out of all of them?
Mm, maybe like a top five.
Top, top five.
One,
Okay.
one that's in your top five. One that comes to
Oh,
mind.
let's see. I mean, working with, okay, top five. I think like Loveline right now is probably one of my top favorites, just because I think the artists in that show, I think, are some of the most inspirational people that they're so amazing. Thread, I think, would probably be like a number two. Um, One of the first shows I did at the museum, Leroy Granis, that was a photography exhibit, and I think like that he was a surf photographer from Palos Verdes, and I think like that was really amazing, because I grew up surfing, and I got to work with John Granis, which was Leroy's son,
Mm.
and I remember like I went to John's house, and he was like, hey, he's like, you want to meet my dad? And his dad passed away like in 2015, and I was like, sure, I'll meet your dad. And anyways, and so I went to the shed, and he was like, and we like looked up at these rafters. It's like, hey, Dad. He's like, this is Paul. He's doing a show. He's curating a show about your work. And it
Whoa.
was like his dad's ashes, whatever. And I was like, and it brought me to tears, because I was like, oh my God, like, that was like a really special moment, like to be with, Leroy's like presence, whatever, in that room, and then being able to, because no one had done it. No one had, there had been shows about his work, but not like an institutional exhibition. So that
That,
was really special.
that's,
Um,
that's
yeah,
awesome.
yeah, it was very cool. But yeah, those are like my top three. I mean, like Space's Presence, which was a show we did in 2020 at the downtown location. That was really special to bring those three women together and do a show, about the way that they incorporate space in the
Mm.
environment as part of their narrative, and then like the piece that was actually in that show. One of the pieces that was in that show by Elise Pignolet, like that's currently in a show at LACMA, and LACMA acquired that work.
Wow.
So that was really amazing to see that happen, and to give her that space and the ability for that to make that possible. And then the Franz Siegel's like large tapestry piece, like that became into the museum's permanent collection. So, and then to do that during the pandemic was really important too. So
So,
yeah, yeah.
okay, so I'm going to ask, what is your method for curating exhibitions? So I will
Okay.
let you take
Um,
that as you
okay.
may.
A method. Gosh, I mean, it takes a lot. I mean, there's so many different methods to it. 'Cause, I mean, I can't really pinpoint like one specific way I put it together, because they come from so many different outlets. It's like either something I'm reading or an artist that I'm looking at. And it could like spark an idea, but it just takes. It's me paying attention continually, at so many different things, and just having my eyes open, and talking to people and artists, and I mean, even like Jaime like had like an idea for an exhibition, and just being open to that about putting something together, Jaime Munoz. And so anyways, so yeah, it's just I mean, I'm always looking, and I think that's the way
Mm,
that's my method, is just to always be looking and always have my eyes and ears open to everything, because you never know when an exhibition is going to come together. So yeah,
awesome.
yeah,
Okay, one last question for you.
yeah.
I think this is going to be easy and hard. What do you
Yeah.
love about your job?
So many things. There's so many. I really love the community of the museum with like all my colleagues there. You know, I love the way we all work together. I love being able to put together exhibitions that are gonna they're gonna be received by the community, especially the Long Beach community that like I grew up in, and a lot of friends and family that I grew up with, like all still like live within the neighborhoods that are close by to the museum and even outside of there. I love the challenge of like breaking down, like being able to like break down barriers and see how far we can push, you know, and like giving access to different communities like within all parts of Long Beach and outside of Long Beach, like then
Yeah.
to like get kids that maybe don't have access, like to give them access to the arts. Because I mean, honestly, like man, I get really passionate about that because it's like I know the power of art, and so many kids don't have access to the arts, you know, and I want to make sure that they do have access to them because it can change their lives, you know, and I really want that. And so I think that that's like at the heart of it, like what my driving passion is and the force behind like everything that I do and why I love working there and having the ability to do that, being in a space that like can in a vehicle that can like get out there, you know, and working with you, working with Dylan, working with our team, you know, that have the same vision and the same focus to like get out there and touch these kids and touch the community at
Yeah.
all generations, all age levels, like with art. Like I loved your approach when you first came to the museum and talking about like, hey, how do we bring like reaching out to like senior centers and things like that? And I was like, yes, like that's what I'm talking about. You
We
know, I was
sat
like,
down and
hell
it was
yeah.
amazing. It was
Yeah.
magic. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, that's what we need. And that's what I'm talking about, like looking at things outside of the box of like the context of what we've like of what Long Beach and LBMA is doing already. Because we already have this amazing program that's doing a lot of outreach, but like expanding that whatever, and then getting in there and just like you know, in touching communities that maybe we didn't think of before that need access to art because art is a powerful thing, you know. So it's really cool. So I love my job. I feel very blessed and fortunate to do what I get to do because, yeah, it's wonderful. So, yeah.
Well, thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah.
I'll see you tomorrow at work.
Yeah. Exactly. Thanks so much for having me. This was
You're
really
welcome.
amazing. Thanks for the great questions. So they were really fun. It's
You're
really
welcome.
always great to share my path with people
Love
because,
it.
yeah, there's so many different avenues to get there. So, yeah.
So exciting. Thank you, Paul,
Yeah.
and thank you for everyone who joined. All right. Have a
Yeah.
good night. Bye.
Good night. Peace.